Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhu evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavyo namo nama. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advait Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय. रामाचार्यदास हरिदास ठाकुर जी की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for today's mid-morning session. Thank you all so much for joining. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. Let us move to the next part of the session. Today's class will be given by His Grace Gaursundar Charan Prabhuji on the Sri Caitanya Bhagavata Antya 2.419 to verse 443. May I know who will have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Bhajana.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining every single day. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashmati Priya Devdasi from Chicago, Illinois, and all glories to your services, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining every single day. All glories to your services, Mataji. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ji, Vrinda from Atlanta, Panihati Dham.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining, giving a beautiful association. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna dear devotees, once again I welcome you all for today's mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. Now they are third class, fourth class men dressed like president and king, but their business is to plunder money from the citizens and kill cow. This is Kali Yuga's king, dressed like king but Shudra, very expert in cow killing. September 17, 1965. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna dear devotees, today we're very fortunate to have His Grace Gaursundar Charan Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be enlightening us on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata Antya 2.419 to verse 443. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Gaursundar Charan Prabhuji, thank you for giving your valuable time and association this morning. Very happy to have you on the call. Waiting eagerly to hear from you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Angaranga ki jai. I now hand over the call to you. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. And thank you all the devotees of the Bhakti Sangha Japa group for giving me this opportunity for purification and doing service to the Vaishnavas. We'll start with Mangala Charan. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So today we are going to continue reading our Chaitanya Bhagavat reading from verse 419. Lord is arriving towards Jagannath Puri, and we will see what happens next. This is one of the most exciting section in Chaitanya Lila. So let's begin. Text 419. Ailena matra prabhu आठार नालाय sarva bhava samvarana kaila gaura raya. As soon as Lord Gauranga arrived at the Athar Nala, he concealed the symptoms of his ecstatic love. At the entrance to Jagannath Puri, there is a bridge called Athar Nala. Since that bridge over a small river has 18 arches, it is called Athar Nala. Athar means 18 and Nala means canal. So I tried to see if there was a picture. So this is what the Athar Nala looks like. There's an older picture of this. This is from like the 18th century, 1850. So about 300 years after Lord Chaitanya would have crossed it. And then this is like a most recent picture. So you can see that there are 18 arches here. So that's why it's called Athar Nala. So we can imagine that our glorious golden 8 foot tall, hand reaching to the knees, beautiful eyes. Lord is crossing this Athar Nala bridge. Text 420. Sthirahai Vashilena Prabhu Sabalaya Yasha Bare Balena Ati Vinaya Kariya. The Lord peacefully sat down with his associates and humbly spoke to them. Text 421. Tomarata amar karila bandhu kaja dekhaila ani Jagannatha Maharaja. You have all done a favor to me, for you have brought me to see Lord Jagannath. So this is our Lord showing by example how we should be grateful for any service that we have benefited from done by other Vaishnavas. So this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is maintaining the whole creation, and everyone is depending on him. Everyone is functioning by his energy. But our Lord is so humble that he considers every activity done out of affection as a service to him, as a favor, Lord considers. So we should imbibe that mood. Text 422. Ebe age tumhara chalah dekhi bare, ami vaya iba age taha bal more. Now tell me whether you should go first to see Jagannath or I should go first. Now this is interesting, right? So far they've arrived together. Now suddenly Lord says, you go first or I should go first. And actually Lord did this once before. Can anyone guess when did Lord say before this that you go first or I'll go first? So that was basically when the danda was broken, the danda bhanga, right? So when the stick was broken, then Lord apparently showed anger and he said, I will not, you go ahead or I'll go ahead. So at that time, Mukunda said, you go ahead. Because, our Lord is sometimes in ecstasy and, he may fall down. So even though he's the independent Supreme Lord, but the devotee out of affection for the Lord is always thinking, oh, what service can I do for the Lord, right? So if the Lord needs me, then I should be available. So like that. So that's why another point here is that in the presence of exalted devotees, and here the Supreme Lord, who is in the mood of who is an exalted devotee in the mood of Radharani, we should be very careful, right? So we should be ready to cooperate with their plan because their life is not being conducted by ordinary calculations. It is either there is a higher consideration or there is directly the internal potency acting. So we should be very sensitive and considerate around exalted devotees, around senior devotees. So let's see what Mukunda says. Mukunda balena tabe tumi aage yao, bhala bali chali lena Shri Gauranga Rao. So Mukunda said, then you should go first. He didn't say why, no, or you go first because we want to be able to serve you. We should know that you arrived safely, right? So if you go behind, we don't know when you'll arrive. We don't want to miss you. Gauranga replied, all right, and then departed. So text 424. Mata simha gati jini chalila satvara pravishta ilasi purira bhitara. The Lord walked like an intoxicated lion and soon entered within the town of Jagannath Puri. So simha gati. Why is simha referred to here? So a lion is the king of the forest, right? So he's fearless and is intoxicated, so he's carefree. So a devotee of the Lord is fearless because he's completely confident of the protection of the Lord and is intoxicated in love. So he's carefree because he knows that actually he doesn't know. He doesn't know he's completely intoxicated with love and his conduct are not within the three modes. It's completely driven by his affection and love for Krishna. And that affection and love carries him under the conduct of the internal potency. He has nothing to do with the material modes. Pravesha ila gaura chandra nila chale iha yeshu nae se bhashe prema jale. Haribol. So this is for us. Anyone who hears about Gaurachandra's entrance into Nilachal floats in an ocean of ecstatic love. So this is a blessing for all of us that we will all, because we are listening to this episode of Lord Gaurachandra's entrance into the beautiful Nilachal Dham. So we are all benedicted to float in the ocean of ecstatic love. So I'm sure all of you will get that, and by your mercy, hopefully I can also someday get it. ईश्वर इच्छाए सार्वभौम से काले जगन्नाथ देखिते आछे ना कुतूहले. By the will of the Supreme Lord, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was happily taking darshan of Lord Jagannath at that time. Now, who is Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is the guru of the king. He is the most learned scholar of his time. he was like scholar par excellence. He knew all the Shastras. And he was also at that time. So by the will of the Supreme Lord. Who is the Supreme Lord? Right? He is the one who has come as a devotee. So it's a mysterious happening. So we should know, we should be fully confident of Lord's arrangement in all circumstances. Nothing happens. Srila Prabhupada says, even a blade of grass does not move without the will of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, we should be always confident of Lord's arrangement and act for his pleasure. Text number 427. Hena kale gaura chandra jagat jivana dekhilena jagannatha subhadra sankarshana. Just then Gaurachandra, the life and soul of the universe, came to see Jagannath, Subhadra and Sankarshan, Baldev. So Lord Baldev is sometimes also called Shankarshan, because from Lord Krishna comes Balram, and then Balram expands into the Chaturvyuha, and then from that Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and from that Shankarshana comes the second Chaturvyuha, and then comes Narayana and so on. So Baldeva as the primary expansion is continuing to serve the Lord in his expansions as Shankarshana and as Anantashesha. So that's why he's also called Sankarshan. देखी मात्र प्रभु करे परम हुकारे इच्छा हैला जगन्नाथ कोले करी बारे. As soon as the Lord saw Jagannath, he roared loudly. So he was Simha, now he roared. So carefree and intoxicated Lord roared and felt an intense desire to embrace him. So these are the transformations of love that is happening, and we'll discuss about this a little later in this class. But for now, we know that he roared loudly. Lamfadena Vishwambhara Anande Vivala Chaturdike Chute Saba Nayanera Jala. Being overwhelmed with ecstatic love, Vishwambhara leapt into the air, and tears shot from his eyes in all directions. So here we have to appreciate one thing, right? Who is Jagannath? Jagannath is Krishna, in the mood of separation from Radha, right? Because Jagannath, Krishna, we all know that pastime, that Lord became Jagannath, his eyes expanded, the hands and legs went in the body, the ears, when they were listening about the Vraja pastimes, especially with the gopis. So Lord is in mood of separation from the gopis, especially Radharani. And Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So here, in the mood of Radharani, who is in separation from Krishna. So on one side, we have Lord Gauranga, who is in mood of Radharani, in separation from Lord Krishna. On one side is Jagannath, who is in mood of separation from Radha. So the intensity is very high. And that's why the Lord leapt into the air and tears shot. So these tears are not like the tears that we get, right? Like dripping. It's a syringe. It's a syringe of water that comes out of the eyes in the form of tears. So text 430. क्षण के पड़िला है आनंदे मूर्छिता के भुजे ए ईश्वरेरा अगाध चरिता. The next moment he fell to the ground, unconscious in ecstasy. Who can understand the unfathomable characteristics of the Supreme Lord? So nice, isn't it? The Lord is coming himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya and exhibiting all these pastimes to declare to us the joy, the glory, the exaltedness of love of God and invite us to that same. So let us all accept this. Who can understand the unfathomable characteristics, right? Agnapadi hari saba uthila marite athe vyathe sarvabhama padila prishtete. As the ignorant guards, agna, right? Gna means knowledge, gnana, agna. Agna means one who does not have gnan, who is devoid of knowledge, so ignorant. Prepared to beat the Lord. Why did they want to beat the Lord? Because they are the guards. The guards, they are thinking they are the guards of Lord Jagannath. And they have been given orders that if anyone creates trouble here, you are the guards. You are supposed to protect this place, make sure that no one creates a scene, no one, the pilgrims should be continuously able to have darshan. But what they don't know, that the one for whom they are protecting, Jagannath, has come in the form of Gauranga. So that is why they are Agna. So even though they are serving Jagannath, but they are Agna because they don't have the refined vision. Who has the refined vision? Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma hurriedly threw himself on the Lord's back. Now, important point to note here is that the guards did not know Lord Chaitanya, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also did not know Lord Chaitanya. So why did the guard? So they both saw the same thing. They saw that, oh, here is a sannyasi who has entered the temple hall, and is roaring and something, and he jumped. Tears were coming, and he fell down unconscious. But the guards took it as, oh, why is he creating disturbance? And Sarvabhauma thought, hey, wait a second, what's going on? And his thoughts will be told later. But what's the point here? So the point is, unless we become refined, we will not be able to identify those who are refined. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, even though he is not a devotee yet, but he's the scholar par excellence of his time. And because he knows all the Shastra, he's able to identify that this is a special occurrence. This is not an ordinary event. This is not an ordinary person. So for us to be able to identify who are refined devotees, we should become refined. For that, purity is important. Otherwise, it will be like Upadeshamata says, right? Archayam eva hare pujam ya shraddaya ihate natat bhakteshu cha anyeshu sa bhakta prakrita smita. So all these guards were like prakritas because they did not know how to recognize a devotee. They had faith in the Lord. That's why they were there, right? They were protecting Lord Jagannath's temple. So Archayam eva hare. In the Archa Vigraha, they have the faith. Pujam, Shraddha, Natat Bhakteshu. But they cannot identify who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee. Right? So they will think, okay, if you dress nicely and you are doing puja to the Jagannath, then you are a devotee. But somebody comes from outside, then they're not able to. So it's based on position. So that's the limitation. So that's why all of us should become refined devotees. The guards are supposed to chastise those pilgrims who commit seva aparadh. So they are not doing anything wrong. The thing is the lack of finesse or offenses in deity worship. As those extremely foolish. Now this is our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's affection for Lord Chaitanya speaking, right? He is thinking about how can these foolish guards attack my Lord? As those extremely foolish guards prepared to beat Sri Gaursundara for falling unconscious in ecstatic love within the temple, which they considered an offense. Sarvabhauma checked them because he was able to know. The word parihari, which is a corruption of the word pratihari, means watchman or internal security guard. Text 432. Hridaya chintena sarvabhauma mahashaya eta shakti manushera konakale naya. Sarvabhauma Mahashaya thought no human being can ever exhibit such potency. So, based on all the scriptures that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya studied, he understood, right? He studied Rasa Shastra, he studied Tattva, he studied Natya Shastra, and both Rasa Vichar and Natya Shastra covers all the bhavas. Because in Natya it is for dramatics, and in Rasa it is the exalted states of human beings. He knows that, oh, this symptoms, this exhibition, this level of devotion, this level of tears, all these vibrations, not possible. It is not possible in an ordinary human being. Who is this person? He was surprised. So next, 433. This loud roaring, e hukara, e garjana, e premera dhara, yata kichu alaukika shaktira prachara. He could know from his knowledge. So scriptures is important. That's why we should study scriptures. If we study scriptures, if we know something from the scriptures, then we can apply it. Then realizations will develop. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is an example. He studied all the scriptures. He doesn't have realization of pure love of God, at least in the past time, right? These are all eternal associates for our example. But within the past time, he does not have the realization yet, but he has the understanding, he has the knowledge. That's why he could benefit. This loud roaring, this bellowing, and this current of ecstatic love are all exhibitions of extraordinary potencies. He could know that. Text 434. Ei jana he na bhuji Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Ei mata chinte sarva bhauma ati dhanya. This person appears to be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So apparently the fame of Lord Chaitanya as Sri Krishna Chaitanya, that he gets all these um, bodily transformations, reach Jagannath Puri. That's how we could think, oh, maybe this person appears to be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Yeah, we heard about it. A lot of pilgrims come from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, and Lord Chaitanya already performed his Sankirtan pastimes already, right? In Navdeep before he took sannyas. So a lot of pilgrims, they keep coming, right, from Mayapur to Bengal to Jagannath Puri. So they will bring the news. Hey, do you know there is a wonderful Sankirtan going on here, and we have Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna. So like that. The fortunate Sarvabhauma thought in this way. So text number 435. सार्वभौम निवारणे सर्व परिहरि रहिले न दूरे सबे महाभय करी. Being checked by Sarvabhauma, the guards were frightened and stood at a distance. So imagine you are guarding a place, and suddenly the owner of the place comes and says, "Hey, why are you stopping this person? He is my relative," right? So the guards will naturally be frightened. Because guards know who Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He is the advisor or guru of the king. So, and the kings are respected in society, right? Because he's the one who is employing them. So when Sarvabhauma said, "Don't beat him," and then he prevented them, they got frightened. Oh, we thought he's creating trouble here, but looks like he's somebody important, or looks like he's somebody elevated, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is guarding him. He's telling us not to do this. And this is where the importance of aristocracy comes, monarchy, right, or kings. Because Sarvabhauma is related to the king, and kings are aristocratic. And when they are saintly, it is very auspicious for the whole country. Right? This is a side point, but it's worth pondering a little bit. So in Varnashram, in Vedic culture, the kings are considered to be Raja Rishi. Right? The kings are usually Raja Rishis, at least. So what's the importance? Because when they are Raja Rishis, when they're saintly, then everyone is attracted to power and wealth, and kings are both, right? Because they collect the taxes, they have all the opulence. That's why they go on elephants and big chariots and processions. They have big palaces, they live in luxury, because their responsibility is very high, and they are ruling over the people. So when they are Raja Rishis, they attract all the attention. People respect them because they have the power, right? The army is at their disposal, the guards are at their disposal, all the law and order is under their control. At their one command, the whole state can be given orders to do something or not do something. Now, when these kings, and that's the reason why Krishna, right, says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarashaya vidu. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which is required for the well-being of the entire society, comes down from the Rajarishis, because they are the ones who can control. They are the ones who can guide. But when these kings respect the sadhus, then everyone else respects the sadhus. Now, sadhus don't have power, right? They are like akinchan. Namo akinchana vittaya. Lord is the possession of those who are akinchan, without any possessions. So the sadhus are akinchana. They don't have power, so they don't have wealth, right? They don't carry wealth. Sadhus, sannyasis, no wealth, right? They want to completely dedicate themselves to the welfare of the Lord and the welfare of his parts and parcels in service to the Lord. So now, how will ordinary people know what is the value of these sadhus, these sannyasis, these Mahabhagavats? When Raja Rishis respect them, then they know, oh, he's somebody to be respected. And who gets benefited? All the people will get benefited. So this is the beauty of Varnashram. When the Brahmanas are respected, Brahmanas have no wealth, right? Generally, they live very simply because they are mode of goodness. They don't want to accumulate. They live simply. They worship the Lord, Patan, Yajan. How do people in general get motivated, because in a society of 1,000 people, you will have one Brahmana, you will have 9 Kshatriyas, you will have 100 Vaishyas, 90 Vaishyas, and 900 Shudras, right? So if you add it up, it's 1,000. So 900 Shudras plus 90 Vaishyas, that is 990, plus 9 Kshatriyas, that is 999, and one Brahmana. So for every 1,000 people, there is one Brahmana. Now, that Brahmana to be respected by the rest of the populace, the Raja Rishi, who is the king, has to respect them. So that is why they used to respect them as advisors, because that is auspicious. The Brahmanas and the Mahajanas are on the path of liberation, they are on the path of bhakti, they are on the path of yoga, whatever, some auspicious path towards transcendence. So when they are respected, everyone respects the Brahmanas and they get benefited, because now, because of the respect they'll serve, and because of the service, they will get purified. Okay, I have a question here. In Bhagavatam, also there is a situation or a scenario where the people in general, or the, or say rather boys, they were troubling, not troubling, they were making fun of a saintly person, but because of the respect offered by the king, the one who were making fun got frightened and stopped. Would anyone want to guess who? This is in Bhagavatam, first canto. Okay, that's a big hint. Anyone wants to guess?
सुखदेव जी महाराज.
Samba.
Yeah. Yes. Very, very nice. So, Shukdev Goswami. When Shukdev Goswami, because he had no clothes, right? He is a Avdut. He was completely in transcendental consciousness. So, Yasvanubhavam Akhila Shruti Saram Ekam Adhyatma Deepam Atititis Tatam Tamondham Samsarinam Karunayah Purana Goyam Tam Vyasa Sunum Upayami Gurum Munina. So that Vyasa Sunu, that son of Vyasadeva, he left home and he was just walking Digambar, with dressed in directions. Then the boys and it says some boys, they were running after him because they thought, oh, here is the person who does. But when he reached the assembly where Maharaj Parikshit had taken the vow until death for the 7 days after the curse, along with all the sages, and then the royal king Maharaj Parikshit got up and offered respects to Shukdev Goswami. Then the boys understood, oh boy, we are in trouble. He seems to be a very powerful, exalted personality. Our king, Maharaj Parikshit, is offering respects to him. Run away, right? So they got frightened. Similarly here, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered respects, he tried to protect, he understood. So the guards were frightened. All right, moving on. Text 436. प्रभु से हैया चेना चेतन प्राय देखी मात्र जगन्नाथ निज प्रिय kaya. From the moment the Lord saw the form of his beloved Lord Jagannath, he remained unconscious. Achetana praya. The Chetana is not there. The Chetana means consciousness. Achetana. He's not conscious. He's unconscious because he's completely immersed in the joy, the ecstasy of prema and beyond. We'll talk about it. Text 437. कि आनंदे मग्न हैला वैकुंठ ईश्वर वेदे ओए सब तत्व जानीते दुष्कर. It is difficult for even the Vedas to know how deeply the Lord of Vaikuntha merged in ecstatic love. It's difficult for Vedas. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita. Which verse? There's a verse in Bhagavatam also. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita that proves this, that it's difficult for Vedas to know about the Lord. Any guesses on that? Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistray Nirdvando. Yes, thank you. Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastu Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. So Traigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas are very nice. They're not bad. Traigunya doesn't mean bad because they are meant to uplift us who are in the three modes. Us means human beings. Human beings. So for those of us, for the human beings who have this human form of life and are kind of struggling with the different modes, some are in passion, some are in goodness, some are in ignorance, some are in mixture of some of these modes. The Lord has a big task how to uplift all of them. For that, Vyasadeva created the Vedas. But then why is Lord saying Traigunya Vishaya Veda? It's for Arjuna. Because Arjuna is a devotee. He's supposed to be above the Vedas. Because when do you become a devotee? When you go through many lifetimes you have spent following the Vedas. And then by that purification, you get a mercy of a devotee. Or you may directly get a mercy of a devotee. But when the bhakti begins, the three modes, they lose power. Because then Krishna takes control. So Traigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas are dealing with the three modes of material nature. That's why Vedas cannot know the Lord. Because Lord is not within the modes. The modes act on those who look away from the Lord. Okay, I repeat. The modes of material nature, they act on those who are looking away from the Lord. So the modes themselves are defined with respect to the Lord. That if you're looking towards the Lord, no modes. If you're looking away from the Lord, modes. Just like shadow. When do you get a shadow? When you look at the sun? No. Does sun have a shadow? No. The shadow is for those who are not looking towards the sun. When we look away from the sun, then you see your shadow. The sun is sun. He illuminates everything. So the Lord is beyond the three modes. He is transcendental. Shuddha, Sattva. Even Bhagavatam says, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. No, this is Brahma Samhita, sorry. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajam. Vedeshu durlabham. In Vedas, he is difficult to be known. But then somebody may ask a question, but then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also that Vedesha sarve ahamaiva vedyo. What about that? Vedesha sarve ahamaiva vedyo. From the Vedas, I am to be known. That means if you know Krishna, you have known the Vedas. That's the meaning. The goal of following the Vedas, the success, let's say you are in school, right? What's the success of going to school? If you cleared high school, if you cleared the 12th grade, that means your purpose of following the schooling is complete, right? Similarly, what is the purpose of following the Vedas? Vedescha sarver hameva vedyo. My dear child, you're looking away from me. I know. And you want to do so many other things besides direct service. I know. So that's why I've given you the Vedas. Somebody is in Tamogun, so they worship Kali, they do their things. Somebody is in Rajogun, they want wealth, prestige, lava, puja, pratishtha, they do their things. Somebody is in goodness, so they want to be in knowledge, they want to be happy, they want to go to higher planetary systems. Okay, so they are doing that. But because of following the Vedas, which is given by the Lord for the upliftment, they get uplifted. And finally, when they know the Lord by the mercy of the devotee, by the purification that comes through the process, and when they get the mercy of a devotee, then the following of Veda becomes successful. That is why Vedescha sarve ahameva vedyo. But just by reading Vedas, can you know? Vedesha durlabham, adurlabham atma bhakta. So the success, so it's a step to success, but it is not success. That's the understanding. So it is difficult for even the Vedas to know how deeply the Lord of Vaikuntha merged in ecstatic love. Next verse, text 438. Say Prabhu Gaurachandra Chaturvyuha Rupe Apane Vasiyache Simhasane Sukhe. The same Lord Gaurachandra was happily sitting on the Simhasana in his quadruple expansions as Jagannath and Sankarshan. Interesting, right? How kind our Lord is. In this Kali Yuga, in this dark, deep darkness of Kali Yuga, where we see very hard to see dharma being followed, right? Today morning, I was hearing Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, Kali Yuga, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, only 25% of dharma remains. Starts with 100% on Satya Yuga, then 75% in Treta Yuga, 50% in Dwapar Yuga in the beginning, and then goes on reducing. And at the beginning of Kali Yuga, only 25%. That's what we are seeing, right? The dharma is not really a preference. Artha is the preference now. Dharma is secondary. If I can get artha by following dharma, okay, I'll follow dharma. But if I can get artha without following dharma, no problem. I'll get artha anyways. So that's the difficulty. So the Kali Yuga is a very difficult age, and unfortunately we are here, so we have to take precaution. I mean, we have to take responsibility first, and then we have to take precaution. So how can we become free? By good association. So in that Kali Yuga, just 500 years ago, considering so many hundreds of thousands of years of each yuga, just 500 years ago, when Vasco da Gama was in Calicut, right? Around that time, we are talking about the same time, right? When those Western colonialists were traveling through ships and trying to find India and all that, Columbus. And at that time, Lord Chaitanya himself appeared, and it was Mughal rule at that time, right? So we talk about those things, but it was Mughal rule. A Lord appeared in the middle of all of that to have us have direct experience through the scriptures and through those devotees who will carry this mood of deep love and affection for the Lord, to have us have that exposure. Imagine if there was no Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will not know this topmost secret, that this love of God. We will have other sampradayas, but where is Krishna Prem? Where is the Braja Bhakti? Where is the deep secrets of Radha Prem, Radha Dasyam? Will not be accessible to us. So we are so fortunate. All the devotees on this call are very fortunate. Okay, so purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 12:11-21, it is stated, Vasudeva Sankarshana Pradyumna Purusha Swayam Aniruddha iti Brahman Murti Vyudho Bhidiyate. Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are the names of the direct personal expansions of the Supreme Godhead. O Brahmana, Shaunaka. So this is in Bhagavatam, where the 4 expansions of Supreme personal expansions, right? So we have Vishnu Tattvas, and then we have Jiva Tattvas. And then in expansions, we have Swayam Prakasha, and then Vishnu Tattva expansions, and then Shakti Avesh Avtaras, right? And then Purusha Avtaras, Leela Avtaras, Guna Avtaras. But Vasudeva, as I said, right, from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So these are considered Vishnu Tattva expansions, personal expansions. Ete Chamsha, Kala, Pumsaha. So these are Amshas. Not expansions of expansion, not Kalas, expansions, direct expansions of the Lord. All right, text 439. Apanai upasaka hai kare bhakti ateva ke bhujay ishwarera shakti. Apanara tattva prabhu apane se jane vede bhagavate mata seva khane. The Lord himself became the worshipper and executed devotional service. Therefore, who can understand the potencies of the Supreme Lord? It needed Lord Chaitanya to come himself. That is why Advaitacharya prayed. Advaita said, my dear Lord, this age is very difficult. I'm seeing people are suffering. No one can deliver them. You have to come. You have to come, my Lord. Lord Advaitacharya prayed for us. He worshipped every day Mother Ganga and prayed to the Lord. That is why the Lord appeared. So we should be so grateful to Srila Shripad Advaita Charya. Because of his mercy, we have received this benediction. The Lord alone knows his own glories. That is why he has to come and exhibit his own glories, so that we can benefit in that. We can bathe in that glories and deliver ourselves. This is the explanation of the Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam. Vede Bhagavate. Se mata. Same. This is what is being explained. Vakhane. They are glorifying. They are explaining. Purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sri Gaursundar jumped onto the jewel-studded altar on which the 3 deities were seated. The consideration of Chaturvyuha arose. Interesting. So because three deities, so this is the Mayavadi understanding, right? So now Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at his time, Mayavada was very, very strong. So he is like a Sima Guru. He is punching this philosophy of Mayavada. So he's saying some Mayavadis may explain that there were three deities. Now I am the fourth one trying to jump. Mayavadi thinks like that, oh, I can also jump. And then I'll be the fourth one, so Chaturvyuha. So I am he. No, that's not the understanding. That is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. In this case, Gaurchandra considered himself a worshipper. He is conducted by the bhava of Krishna Prem. Not as I am he and I'll become he. No. And not the object of worship as Mayavadis do. So that is the refutation here. That this is not that. This is Lord Chaitanya has appeared. Even though he's the Supreme Lord, he would not listen when somebody will say, you are Vishnu. No, Hari Vishnu, Vishnu. Don't call an ordinary person Vishnu. Because that is the disease of Mayavad. When somebody becomes frustrated with material existence, right? So why do we come? So a living entity comes to this conditioned material world because he wants to enjoy separately from Krishna. Now, when the enjoyment plan fails, which obviously it has to fail because we are not watering the roots, so we'll never be satisfied. So a Mayavadi means somebody who has that tendency. He thinks that, oh, this material world is Dukhalayam. Okay. So I don't want to surrender. Okay. But I don't want to suffer. Okay. So I want to become liberated. Okay. So now philosophically he is at a problem because he doesn't want Krishna. He doesn't want material nature. He doesn't know why he came here. So then he says, I'm God. Okay. So if you're God, then why did you come here? It's my Leela. So this is where they get stuck. So Prabhupada says this is the last snare of Maya. It is good you're trying to become free from material nature, but it is painful that you are not accepting the Father, right? You want to go back to the kingdom without the God. You want to go to the city of your parents, but you don't want to visit their home. Is it a good thing? It's not a good thing, right? If you go to the city of your home, city of your parents, you visit your parents. No, I don't want to visit. That is Mayavad, in simple terms. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Dyupataya evate na yayur antam anantata yatvam api yadantarand nichaya nanu savarana. Because you are unlimited, neither the lords of heaven nor even you yourself can ever reach the end of your glories. The countless universes, each enveloped in its shell, wander within you. So the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Okay, so can the lords of heaven, the demigods, they are very powerful, they have so many mystic powers. Can they know the Lord? No way. Why? What's the proof? Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshaya. Name vidu suragana. The suragana, the demigods, they do not know me. Okay. What about the maharishis? Maharshamna. Name vidu suragana na maharshaya. Then, but why? Because aham adir hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita. Aham adir. Because he is the origin. Krishna is the adi, origin. So if there's an origin, like parents are there, then the child comes. Now child don't know the parents from before his birth because he came after. So he doesn't know from where the parents came or who the parents are or what they were doing before he or she was born. So aham adirhi devanam, because the demigods are born from the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord gives existence to the demigods with their powers and their service and their devotees. May not be pure in all cases, but sometimes they may be too. But aham adirhi devanam, so they cannot know him. Okay, but then you yourself can know. Of course he knows. But then why does here it says you yourself can? This is affection. And this is also reality. Because the Lord is unlimitedly sweet. He's so sweet, he's so sweet, he's so sweet, and unlimitedly sweet. And after saying that unlimited times that he's sweet, still there is no limit to his sweetness. Because he is so sweet, he cannot know what is the end of his sweetness. That is why it is said here that you can never reach, you yourself cannot ever reach the end of your glories. That is how great and sweet and humble and beautiful and nectarian our Lord is. That is why we should become his devotees and become happy. Give up all our sufferings. All right, next verse, text 441. तथापि ये लीला प्रभु करे न यखने ताहा कहे वेदे जीव उद्धार कारणे. Yet the Vedas. So Vedas try to serve the Lord. How? They describe the pastimes that the Lord performs for the purpose of delivering the living entities. Now let's compare these two verses, right? So what does it say? The Lord himself, who can understand the potencies of the Supreme Lord? The Lord alone knows his own glories. That means the pastimes of the Lord, why he does what we cannot know. What is the proof? Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma karma cha me divyam. Karma. Karma. Lord doesn't have karma, right? But his pastimes. So his karma is pastimes. Janma karma cha me divyam. Evam yo veti tatvatah. So we'll stop there. And then we'll come here. Yet the Vedas describe the pastimes. So nobody can know the pastimes of the Lord. Demigods cannot know it. Vedas don't know it. Lord himself may not know how sweet he is. So then why do the Vedas describe the pastimes? For the purpose of delivering the living entities. Right? Janma karma cha me divyam. Evam yo veti tatvatah. One who knows it in truth, what happens to him? Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. Mameti swarjana. He comes back to me. That is why Vedas describe the pastimes. Because it gives us an opportunity to know something about our Lord. Yes, he is impossible to understand. But even if we know tiny bit of him, our heart will be full. And we can go back to him and enjoy with him and serve him and serve his devotees. So what else is needed, right? We just want to be full of love. That's all is our need. Our need is not to know everything. What we will do knowing everything is so stressful. Even today, right? We go to work and we have to study so much and work so much. At the end of the day, heart is still empty. Whether you live in India or US, you have big home, big car, so many friends, heart is still empty. Because heart will not be filled until we love Krishna. That is where the heart will be filled. All these relationships are empty if they are without Krishna. They are just scratching the itch. Scratching the itch is not pleasure. It's just scratching the itch. We have some need and we are fulfilling the need. I need some employer, and my employer needs me, so I'm working together and we are speaking sweetly and we are being cheaters and cheated. I'm the cheater and he's the cheated, and he's the cheater and I'm the cheated. We are cheating each other. That's all is going on. But when all of this we do for the purpose of this, that when I have time in the evening, when I have time in the morning, I will know about the pastimes of the Lord so that I can cultivate that little bit of love for my Lord. That is the success of Vedas. All right, text 442. Magna hailena Prabhu Vaishnava Veshe Baya Dure Gela Prema Sindhu Maje Bhase. The Lord became absorbed in the mood of a Vaishnava. He lost external consciousness and floated in an ocean of ecstatic love. And then we arrive at the last verse. Yes, 443 is the last verse. Avarya sarvabhauma chinapane prabhurananda murcha nahaya khandane. Sarvabhauma continued to guard the Lord, whose ecstatic trance remained unbroken. So we are talking about the ecstatic trance of the Lord. Do we want to know a little bit more about this trance? Then let's explore something. So I have a little bit of a slide, if you may allow me. So let's see, what did Lord experience? Okay. So we will explore. The reference for this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. It explains about the bhavas of the Lord, and also Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjwal Nilamani. So let's see what it says, right? So this is Satvika, Bhavas, and Mahabhav. So there are now, in love of God, there are different components of rasa. this slightly technical, but we are hearing so much about Lord Chaitanya and his ecstasies and Lord Nityananda and his ecstasies. And we are reading Caitanya Bhagavat, which is itself is, elevated scripture. So it's important to know a little bit about this, right? So there are four components of rasa. There is vibhava, anubhava, sattvic bhava, vyabhichari bhava. So we will not go into all of that, but we will know sattvic bhavas. What is sattvic bhavas? So they are basically physical symptoms that arise from deep spiritual emotion, which is prema, bhakti rasa, for a devotee who is overwhelmed with love for Krishna. Now, important thing to note here is that these are not consciously performed. It's not that somebody says, oh, I want to have a sattvic bhava like trembling. No. The love in the heart is so intense and so overpowering that it takes control of the bodily functions and the symptoms manifest. So the devotee who is undergoing these emotions and ecstasies, he is not aware of what's happening to him. All he's experiencing is an explosion of love in his heart. That's what he's experiencing, right? So these are the 8 sattvika bhavas. Stamba, paralysis of the body, which is what we saw. Lord Chaitanya fell down. Shveda, perspiration, right? They would perspirate sometimes profusely. Romancha, horripilation, standing of hair on the end. Now, there are material equivalents of this also, right? When somebody is fearful, then they may perspire. When we are excited, oh, I won a lottery or something like that. Sorry, we should not talk about lottery, it's gambling. But let's say I got a good grades or I got a promotion in office. So there may be horripilation at that time, right? But we are not talking about that. We are talking about the horripilation that manifests as a result of love, where the love controls the body, right? That's the symptoms we are talking about. Choking of voice, swarabheda. Then trembling. Arjuna said, right? Vepatuscha sarire me roma harshascha jayache. That is not Sattvika bhavas. That was because of the fear that he underwent. Of course, he's capable of having those Sattvika bhavas, but not in Bhagavad Gita. That was because of fear. Vaivaranya, changing of color. Ashru, we heard, right? Recently, Ashru. The streams of tears, not few drops falling. Streams. You will see as if a tap has been opened. Stream of tear. Pralaya, unconsciousness, right? Unconscious. Lord became unconscious, fainting unconsciousness. So these are the 8 sattvika bhavas. Now, these are not consciously performed. They erupt from the soul's ecstasy and affect the body through the life force, prana. Now, prana is something interesting also. So let's explore what is prana. Prana literally means life force or breath. Now, prana is not shwasha. Shwasha is breathing, right? We say pranayam and then we say, oh, left nostril close. Yes, it is pranayam. But the means is swasha, but we are not doing swashayam, we are doing pranayam. But swasha is not prana. Swasha is the air we breathe in and air we breathe out. But that is not prana. What is prana then? Prana is the vital life force. These are it's the subtle energy channels that we have in the body, right? There are nadis or energy channels in the body where the prana flows. Why are we talking about prana? It's not there in our books, right? Why are we talking about? No, it's there. In Bhagavad Gita, it is there. Where in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned prana? Any guesses? And any one verse where prana is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita?
Pranapana samayukta
Jai ho. Jai ho. Yes. Prana pana samayukta pachami annam chaturvidam. Krishna says, Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashrita prana apana samayukta pachami annam chatu. 4 kinds of food are digested by an Vaishvanara, who is the form of the Lord in our body as the fire of digestion, balances the prana and apana. There are other verses. In the Chatushloki it is there. Matchitta, Madgata, Prana. Their pranas are dedicated to me. So what do prana do? There are other verses also. Even in 5th chapter, Krishna says, Sarvadvarani samyamya mano Ridhi nirudhyacha murdhani adhaya atmanaha pranam. Many places Bhagavad Gita prana is there. So that's why we should understand what is prana. Prana is something that we will become aware as we become pure. Right now we are not aware of our prana. When we are in when we are in heavy conditioned life, it's difficult. But those who are evolved, as we become pure with our eating, with our chanting, with our regulatory principles, you'll become aware of the pranas in the body. It's the vital life force. It's a subtle energy, and it flows through the nadis. So what are the five primary forms of prana? Prana, apana. This Prabhupada explains many places, even Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Samana, udana, vayana. Right? Prana is about inhalation and heart function. Apana is what controls the downward movement. Then samana is, just now we said, prana, pana, samayukta, samana. Then udana, which is upward movement, consciousness. Vayana. So these are the prana. Now, prana is what functions our body. Basically, all the actions, we are like, I'm able to move my hand right now. That means my prana is working well. I'm able to speak. I'm able to express Harikatha, right? For the benefit, for my purification. That is because my prana is working. But if prana stops, then I cannot move. I cannot move my lips. I cannot move my tongue. I cannot move my hands. So prana activates our organs also, the working, right? Movement throughout the body, vayana. So when Krishna says Machitta Madgata Prana, that means their pranas are dedicated to him. That is a devotee. But when love of Godhead overtakes, then the prana is not Machitta, it is the Prema Chitta prana. The prana is controlled by the Prema. So that is coming back to Sattvika Bhavas. They are not consciously performed, the Sattvika Bhavas. They erupt from the soul's ecstasy and affect the body through the life force, prana. So the ecstasy of love and intimacy with the Lord overtakes the pranas. And now the body goes out of control. So that is why I said earlier also that human body is not designed. These pranas are not designed to handle love of God. It's too much to handle. So that's why all these symptoms of ecstasies. Okay. So now let's see. What are the intensity levels of Sattvika Bhavas? So now we saw that there are 8 Sattvika Bhavas and there are intensity levels. So there is Dhumaita. So of the 8, only 1 or 2 Sattvika Bhavas will appear and they will be faint and they can be easily concealed. So it's called smoky, Dhumaita. The next stage is Jwalita, lighted. It's little more intense than Dhumaita. Now 2 or 3 bhavas, they become manifest more clearly, but they can be still concealed. So the number 1, Dhumaita and Jwalita, these 2 states of Sattvika Bhavas can be concealed. But the third stage, Dipta, which is blazing, now 4 to 5 bhavas are visible, right? So perspiration, trembling, romancha, vaivaranya, all of those. Let's go back and look one more time, right? So all of these are 8. If 4 or 5 of these, right? So perspiration, horripilation, choking of voice. So let's say number 1 through number 5, if they are manifest, then that is Dipta, 4 to 5 bhavas. The emotion is strong because now your pranas are getting out of control, right? Because 5 emotions, it's too much to handle for a jiva. The love, it is like we say, right? Intolerable pain. My pain is intolerable. That is like intolerable happiness I'm getting. When Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even for yogi, he says, right? Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhigrayam atindriyam. The pleasure that even just a yogi experiences is Sukham, 6th chapter. Sukham atyantikam. Atyanta sukha is experiencing, which is buddhigrayam atindriyam. It is just beyond the senses. So that is strong and hard to hide. So then what to speak of this? This we are talking about Sattvika Bhavas in prema. This is impossible to hide. And then comes Udipta. Udipta is inflamed. Now it's no longer blazing. It's inflamed. 5 to 8 bhavas appear simultaneously. All 8. Body has gone to wreck. There's no control. The devotee is overwhelmed. Then what to speak of the last stage? I cannot even explain it. So Dipta, this is intensely inflamed. All the 8 bhavas, without exception, all manifest at once. And the body is going crazy, totally crazy, multiplied in intensity. So this, let's say Udipta might have up to 8, but Sudipta 8 is thousands of times more intense in intensity. Pure ecstatic eruption. This is explosion now. This is totally explosion of Sattvika Bhavas. And this is what is being exhibited. Now, last slide. So these are the stages of development after prema. So we know from Those who have done Bhakti Shastri, Nectar of Devotion, first 19 chapters, stages of, Adho Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and then going till Bhava and Prema, right? So that Bhava and Prema, that are the last two stages in the first 19 chapter, are the first two in this list. So that is the Bhava, which is the preliminary love of God, which is the budding love of God, which leads to Prema, which is steady and deep love for Krishna. Then the next stages are beyond Prema, which happens in devotee according to their relationship with the Lord. So it goes to Sneha, Mana, which is loving anger. We say, right, Radha Rani Man Leela. So this is the Mana, after Prema. Then Pranaya, intimate love, no distinction between the lover and beloved, not in the sense of becoming one, in the sense of love, that my welfare, your welfare is my welfare, in that sense, right? Your pleasure is my pleasure. Pranaya, Raga. Again, we can just say these names, but we should know them because we are studying about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then comes the Bhava, which is the intense Bhava, which is after Anurag, way after the original Bhava, right? But it's called, and then Mahabhava. What is Mahabhava? This is the supreme ecstasy, only experienced by Sri Radha and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the Mahabhava. Okay, so what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experience? We saw the pastime. We read the pastime. Lord Chaitanya became fainted, just like in this picture. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came. What? He experienced this Mahabhava of the stages. Adhiruda Mahabhava, where there was full explosion of all 8 Sattvika Bhavas. Sudipta Sattvika Bhava and Adhiruda Mahabhava. Within Mahabhava also, when there is a peak of Mahabhava, that is Adhiruda Mahabhava. That is experienced only by Srimati Radharani and by her mercy, the gopis. What are the unique traits of this? Yavad Ashraya Vritti. Her love expands infinitely beyond any limit. Divyon Mada, divine madness, loss of self, time, and surroundings. That's what we can see in this picture. Lord Chaitanya lost sense of time. And he would say, what happened to me, right? Later in the pastime, he'll ask, what happened to me? What happened? This is all I remember because there is no control. Rasa Swarupa. She became the embodiment of Rasa itself, reversing roles with Krishna. So this is intense. Our Thakurani, Radharani, the Lord of our life, she becomes the controller of Rasa at that time. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. They are not different. They one became two for Rasa. So this is the... Okay, so what are the takeaways? By the way, this is the picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, real painting that was prepared by the king, Maharaj Pratap Rudra. He got it made. So this is the real painting. If some of us have not seen, I'm sure most of us seen, but this is how our Chaitanya, glorious Lord Chaitanya looked. So attaining Krishna is for real. This is the takeaways. That's why we are discussing all this, right? We are not trying to have some philosophical conversation, at least as bhaktas, that's not our interest. So attaining Krishna is for real. The more hungry we are for it, the better for us. We should be hungry for this. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are to invite us to that state of highest loving service and madness in love. So let's accept the invitation. So what should we do? Let us do what we need to do in order to attain it. What can we do? So we can serve the 5 most important and others. Nam, the holy name. Dham, the holy Dham, the residence of the Lord. The deities that we have at our home. Gaur Nitai, Radha Shyam Sundar, Jagannath. Devotee, serve the devotees, no matter they are junior, equal, superior. Serve all the devotees according to their position. Respect them according to their position. Bhagavatam, let's study the scriptures every day. Let's serve all of them with our heart and soul and pray for these perfections and serve them with all the humility that we can muster with great care and attention. And that's the end. And that's it. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Sorry I went over 3 minutes. Please let me know if there are any reflections or corrections. I'll be happy.
Go ahead, Preeti, will ask me Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, what a beautiful class as always. Can't stop relishing this class. It's so good. Thank you for going through the verses very patiently with us and relating back to Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita, and so many other scriptures as you were reading and giving us a nice food for thought. and then later your presentation on the 8 Sattvika bhavs, that was also very nice. And I did have a question. I keep asking this question.
Yes.
It's oh, I have two questions actually. Yeah.
Yes,
So I
Mata.
have two questions. When you were talking about shwasa and prana,
Mm.
and then you said they are actually different.
Mm.
And then you said prana again is classified into prana, pana, udana, vyana, samana. So in that sense, the prana, and you said prana is something that flows through the nadis. But how do I differentiate between the breathing and the because we say prana vayu, right? So
Yes.
ultimately it's vayu.
Yes,
So
it is
how do
Vayu.
I, yeah, so how do I
So,
differentiate?
so actually, you are right. It is a type of air, but it is not the air we breathe. It's a subtler form of air. It's a subtle
Mm,
form of energy. That's why it's called Vayu. So, Bhumi, Apa, Anala, Vayu, right?
mm,
All of these elements have their gross and subtle projections. So, within the Vayu, there is Swasha, which is the air, which is the air that we breathe and that we feel. And then there's the Prana, which is the subtle, which moves everything. So the prana, you have to first become aware of the prana. How do we
mm,
differentiate? First, we have to, it's just like Krishna Prem, right? We accept it first that yes, there is Krishna, there is devotee, and then we begin to realize that yes, there is Krishna, he is doing something in my life. Similarly, first thing is you have to accept that there is a prana, energy flowing in my body.
mm,
And as we continue to refine ourselves and, sadachar and years of practice, then you will become. This is what the yogis do. Yeah. But the way to realize that is shuddhikaran, like the ahara shuddha or sattva shuddhi, right? As the
mm,
sattva will become shuddha, see,
mm,
there is a universe outside and there is a universe inside. Now, outside universe also, we are only aware of the gross universe. That's why we
mm,
don't see the demigods, we don't see the Gandharvas flying in the sky. So there is a
mm,
subtle universe outside. Similarly, there is a gross universe inside, which is made up of organs and the
mm,
nerves that we have, which are carrying the electrical signals. And there is
mm,
also a subtle universe, which is formed of all these subtle energies, with
mm,
which the yogi rises himself through all the chakras, right? We talk about the structure of prana.
mm,
And then, so the using the prana, because prana is the connection between the gross and the subtle and the soul. So prana is what carries the soul. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Uh, Even in the eighth chapter, he says that he says astito yoga dharana. Take the prana at the top of the head. Bhruvam
Sushumna. Mm,
Shushumna. That is the Shushumna.
mm, mm,
So the awareness of prana will come with purification, and for that we should be razor sharp in our bhakti. I mean, we don't have to become aware of prana because as devotees, Krishna
mm,
will control our prana, right? That's the objective. But we should be serious about Krishna for
mm,
that. If we are not serious about Krishna, then the awareness of prana will take time. So the to become aware of prana and differentiate it from, but that is why the pranayam we do with swasha, because when you control the swasha, the prana is able to align itself better, right? So it is important. It is not unimportant. The pranayam that we do, we are actually trying to control the prana, but the tool is the swasha because that's all we got. We don't have access to prana. So that's the understanding.
understood. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. That was nice. And the other point, we say Mahabhav Swarupani Radha Thakurani, and we say she's the only one who experiences Mahabhav because it is all these eight, an explosion of all eight.
Yes.
But then later you also mentioned in Adhiruda Mahabhav that the other gopis as well.
Yes. Yes.
So why that
Yeah.
way?
Yeah.
Can you comment why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, like Adhiruda Mahabhav means first of all what? When you said
Adi.
Mahabhav is
Hmm.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, is it like a more intensified Mahabhav, or how do you
So,
define it?
so think of all of these as bands with intensity,
Okay.
right?
Mm,
So
mm,
starting from the top, prema, raga, prana, they are not like switches, turn on, turn off.
mhm,
Think of them as a gradient, right? Increasing
mhm.
intensity, and then similarly, Mahabhav is a gradient. There is a intensity. The peak of that intensity is Ruda, right?
Okay.
We say yoga ruda. Aruruksho
Mm,
muner yogam
mm,
karma karanam uchyate. Yoga rudasya tasyeva shama karam. Yoga ruda.
mm,
So
mm,
Adi Ruda. So the
mm,
peak of Mahabhav is Adi Rud Mahabhav. And that peak of Adhirudha Mahabhav is experienced only by Radharani. So other gopis also can experience Mahabhav, but they don't experience it to the same degree as Radharani because Radharani is Radharani. But all the gopis are satisfied that our Thakurani is enjoying Adhirud Mahabhav because we are all Palyadasis.
So
Everyone is full.
their enjoyment is via the enjoyment of Radharani, seeing Radharani.
Yes. Radharani is Adhirud Mahabhav, and they also get a touch of that.
Touch of it,
Because of that. And that is full. They are full. See, our container has to be full, right? If I have a bucket, I can only hold a bucket full of water. If I have a drum, I can hold a drum full of water. What is the goal? I want to be full. I want to be full of love for Krishna. If you are full, you are happy. Then you don't need anything. So that is the case with all the rasas. A devotee in Sakhya Rasa, Dasya Rasa, it's not that they are thinking, they also know that Radharani is going to Adhirud Mahabharata and they are happy because they are already full. You see? That's
according to their container.
Yes, according to their container. How much desire you have, you are full.
Haribol.
Very well.
Beautiful. Such nice ways of explaining. Thank you.
Yeah.
Look forward to your classes, Prabhu, all the time. Thank you so much. Very grateful for your association. Yeah, the Vinita Mataji, you want to continue hosting?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, for such a interesting questions, and thank you, Prabhuji, for answering them very nicely. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful class. I see a lot of chat messages are there here. Amrita Radhika Mataji is saying such a detailed class. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And Janava Mataji is saying she's very good in learning every day, and she's saying it's full for her. Like as you said, the container, I was remembering this. Okay, detailed class, so much food for my brain. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful presentation and class. And
Thank you.
Shobha Mataji saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for wonderful and interesting class. Yoshimati Mataji is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, thank you for such a wonderful class. You explained very detailed by Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, how our Mahaprabhu gets all symptoms of love for Krishna. Grateful to you. Hari Hari Bol. Yes, Prabhu. You covered all the scriptures and you gave quizzes in between. Thank you for giving that slokas. Can you quote this one? Can you quote that one? It's very hard to get it sometimes, but thank you so much for
Thank
that
you.
quiz in between, so that we are active. Okay, next maybe Prabhuji can quote this verse. Maybe I can answer to Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I was an outside, so I couldn't unmute, but I was able to get some verses that you were asking us. Yeah, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I don't have any question. I don't have that qualification, Prabhuji. कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम शिल प्रभुपाद शिल गुरुदेव की जय गोपीनाथ की जय। प्रभु जी वो बोलते हैं ना पीकॉक के इंडे चितरने का नहीं होता है, दे एग्जैक्टली लाइक पीकॉक. सो राधिका माता जी, सुदेवी's mother and Sudevi both are doing lots of सेवा in the temple. And प्रभु जी you are hearing from long time. एक दिन में नहीं आ जाते हैं for preaching. And especially your japa, I have seen from last 3.5 years, maybe more. Before that, I am doing japa in Bhakti Sangha. So in Adhikatar Prabhu class, you are attending japa every day 5:15. So our base is very important, Prabhuji, and you explained from CC Bhagavad Gita. उसमें डुबकी लगाया. Then after CC Bhagavatam में, CC Chaitanya Charanamrut में, and as Preeti Vilasani Mataji, I wants to add one thing that जी आदिकदार प्रभु told जब मेरे हार्ट में 5 स्टेंट रखे थे before 4.5 years. So they told that it's not necessary. वो एयर हमारे शरीर में होती है, जो हमारे शरीर 3 से चीज से बना है, कफ पित्त एंड वात. सो दैट वायु बढ़ जाता है, तो वो योगा एंड वॉकिंग से इवन श्रील प्रभुपाद also walk. So pranayam and yoga and walking all are very important in our life, क्योंकि presently पैसा कमाने के लिए they are doing a stent रखते हैं and heart surgery. But if you are walking every day, your diet is proper, तो वो जो शरीर में एयर हो जाती है, बिकॉज वॉट एवर वी ईट इंडियन फूड, दाल चावल चपाती सब्जी, गैस हो जाता है. सो दैट फॉर वो एयर निकालने के लिए pranavayu is that yoga and pranavayu is very important. Please forgive me, just inform whatever I know. So Adhikatar Prabhu told that yoga and even he also goes. मैं भी जब 12 बजे प्रभु जी एवरी फ्राइडे तो कान में ईयर प्लग. I am so lucky, Prabhuji, that hearing Sisi Chaitanya Charanamrut and doing my for material body, I have to go for yoga. But Prabhuji, I am so lucky. Even hearing Sisi Bhagavatam morning, Sisi Chaitanya Charanamrut, and even in after Bhakti Sastri, that is a Bhakti Vaibhav. I said, my friend, it is very hard. I am not able to do that. And she said, Mataji, please come and hear. And Prabhuji, trust me, it's very easy because we are hearing. जब हमारे टाइम में तो प्रभु सीडी नहीं, वो था कैसेट था. तो वो कैसेट सुनते हैं इसलिए प्रभुपाद और इसलिए गुरुदेव की वाणी सुन सुन के बहुत आनंद आया. प्रभु जी आप रेगुलर श्री चैतन्य भागवतम में भी आइए एंड श्री चैतन्य चरणामृत सुनने भी आइए. कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम. एंड यस प्रभु जी, योर वाइफ राधिका माता जी, सुदेवी's mother is given a 20 minute every day evening time association reading जन्म मृत्यु से आगे की श्री ब्रह्म संहिता जो छोटी छोटी बुक आती है वो सब सुनाया था. प्रभु जी आपकी सेवा का कोई मतलब, सच्चे हृदय से आपने बहुत अच्छा क्लास लिया. प्लीज कम फ्रॉम मॉर्निंग भागवतम एंड सीसी चैतन्य भागवतम ऑल्सो. कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम. जय श्री प्रभुपाद. हरि हरि गौरांगा.
Thank you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Thank you. Having any more question? And Harita Mataji's message is there. She is also appreciating the class, Prabhu. Thank you for the beautiful class and nice details.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Thank
there
you
any
to
more
Bhakti Sangha
questions?
Japa group for creating such a wonderful forum where we can come together and study these wonderful scriptures. Thank you to all of you for
Thank you,
participating.
Prabhuji, for your association this
Hare
mid-morning and enlightening us on the topic of all the books. You have covered everything, not only just Chaitanya Bhagavat. Very grateful to you. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarobhyasya kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam
पावनेभ्यो
pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
vaishnavebhyo namo
नमो
namah.
नमः.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai,
की
Srila
जय,
Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada.
His Grace Gaursundar Prabhuji ki
की
jai.
जय. हरे कृष्ण
Jai.
प्रभु जी,
Thank you,
दंडवत
Prabhu
प्रणाम.
ji.
Prabhupada,
Koti koti
thank you
दंडवत
Such a
so
प्रणाम.
much
wonderful
for the
class.
wonderful class. Hari Bol.
Krishna. Hare
हरि
Krishna.
बोल, हरे कृष्ण.